Good morning, good morning, good morning. This is Monday morning, and this is Monday Morning Mindset. And what is mindset and why does it matter? So, mindset is a combination of your thoughts and your feelings that impress into your attitude, your actions, and affect everything that you do. So, mindset is critically important. And I can see a few people hopping on here with me. So, welcome. Thank you so much for joining me. And our oil today is forgiveness, the oil of forgiveness. And if you don't have this oil, this is an oil that everybody needs to have. So, the oil of forgiveness, we're just going to put a drop in our hands. And why do we smell the oils like this? Because the oil molecules, we want to get them right in to the olfactory, right into the limbic system, which is the seat of our memory and the seat of our emotions. And so take deep inhalation, hold that at the peak of your breath, and then gently blow out, and do that 3 times. The oil of forgiveness. So, emotionally, how does this oil help us? So, most of the time when we think of forgiveness, I'm sure that something even comes to your mind. Thank you so much for joining me. I can see people hopping on here. I cannot see any comments. I love seeing where you're from and where you're joining me from. Anyway, thank you for joining me. And the oil of forgiveness. Most of the time, well, I'm even curious what you think of when you think of, most of the time we think of forgiving somebody else, like somebody has done something that we need to forgive them for, something that hurt us, something that we didn't like, something, and so we feel like it's an external, but really this is internal. This is something that we have to do internally for ourselves. Good morning, Darlene. I see you joining me. I think the comments are a bit delayed here, so thank you so much for joining me. Wonderful to have you. And so this oil is really an oil that helps us with feelings of betrayal, feelings like we're just going to repeat the past again and we're going to do it again. And betrayal, when we think of forgiveness, it's linked with betrayal. And yet this so often is an internal thing, not an external thing. And remembering that something can't come out of us if it's not in us. So forgetting these feelings from certain experiences that are happening to us, it's because they're in us and we need to come up. And so how would you rather feel than betrayed? How would you rather feel like, oh, this is just all happening again, like these negative things, the experiences that come up that seem contrary, that they hurt, we say they hurt, they don't feel good, like there's this constant thing happening. And so how would you rather feel, and thinking about how you would feel instead. And so this whole forgiveness process is looking at the feelings that are coming up for us in situations and then replacing them with positive. And this is an internal work of forgiving ourselves for incorrect perceptions, forgiving ourselves for feeling that we aren't good enough, or that, the situation that's happening, somehow we deserve to be used as a doormat, or we deserve to be not respected. And so I know how I would rather than feeling the feelings of unforgiveness, obviously I want to feel forgiveness. And with that comes great feelings of liberty and freedom. And I have this little story that I think illustrates this so well. And it's called A Box Full of Kisses. And I know I've told this story before, and I've read this story before, but I just felt like it bore repeating with this oil. And so this is about a man who had a little girl about 3 years old, and he was really upset and angry with her because she was wasting a roll of very, what he thought was expensive and exclusive type of wrapping paper. And he was angry with her for using it lavishly and unwisely, wrapping a Christmas present. And so the next And so he got after her and, sent her to her room. And regardless of that, it tells us that the next morning, the little girl brought the box that she had so lavishly wrapped and give it to her daddy and said, "Daddy, this is for you." And so the man was a little bit then embarrassed and contrite about his reaction, and so he eagerly opened the box, and when he opened the box was empty. And so his anger returned and he scolded her again. And he said, "Don't you know that when you give someone a present, there's supposed to be something inside the box?" And then the little girl looked up at him with tears in her eyes and she said, "Oh, Daddy, the box is not empty at all." She said, "It's full of kisses. I blew kisses into the box and they're all for you, Daddy." And so the father then felt very, like just like, oh my goodness. And he put his arms around his little girl and he begged her forgiveness because of his misperception of how he had perceived the situation and how he had reacted rather than responded to the situation. And so if you haven't listened to the video yet that I did on reacting versus responding, it's still live up above here. Go listen to it because it is fantastic and it's probably going to get taken down and put into the membership site today. So this, the story goes on to say that it was only a short time later that this little girl, actually her life was taken in an unfortunate situation. And so that father kept his box of kisses on beside his bed. And whenever he felt discouraged or upset, he would take out an imaginary kiss and think of his little girl and remember that he had reacted instead of responded, and he was able to change that so that he could actually forgive himself for that situation, for the incorrect perception. And so the essential oil of forgiveness helps us so many times that we have these quick responses, I mean reactions, and we don't press that internal pause button to have a response. And we need to forgive ourselves for those misperceptions. So use this oil all week. I would love to hear your stories of how this supports you and helps you in so many situations. So thank you for joining me today. I see a whole lot more people hopping on here. Thank you so much for joining me. Good morning, Juliet. Good morning, Diana. Good morning, Gina. Um, Good morning, Danica. Thank you so much for joining me. And if this is helpful to you, please hit the subscribe button and hit share so that more people can benefit from the love. Thank you so much. Bye for now and have an amazing week.